In number 4, we are going to look at another quadratic similar to number 2. The difference is in number 2, our quadratic was set equal to 0, and in number 4, our quadratic is not. Now, you could always result to how we did in method 2 and set this quadratic equal to 0, or we can think of this graphically and look for the intersection of these two graphs. So in order to do this, the first thing we need to do is put both of those equations in our calculator. Remember, to do this, we go to y equals. If you have an equation in there, just hit the clear button to clear it on out. I'm going to start with the left-hand side of my equation, which is the quadratic. So we are having x squared plus 9x. My second equation is going to be the right-hand side. So here it is just 20. Now we want to look for the intersection on the graph. So we're going to hit the graph button. Remember, that's in the top right-hand side of your calculator. Looking at this graph, it looks like there's only one graph on it. That's because right now there is. Because of the window dimensions on here, we can't see where our other graph is crossing. One way to help this is if you hit zoom, you can look at number 3, which is just zoom out. This will give us a bigger window. Okay, right when we come here, you can see it hasn't done anything. You get to pick where you want to center it around. We'll keep it right there at 0, 0. So just go ahead and hit enter again, and you'll see that the graphs are zoomed out. Now we can see that we actually have two graphs on our screen. We need to find those 2 points where those graphs intersect each other. In order to do this, we're going to go to second trace for our calc function and down to number 5 for intersect. So either scroll down to number 5 or hit number 5. And now it says first curve. We have two curves here. We have our quadratic x squared plus 9x, and then we have our constant up there at 20. If you look in the top left of your screen, you're going to see it says x squared plus 9x. That's perfect. We can use that as our first curve, but we want to scroll closer to that intersection point. You want to be somewhere close to that side. It does not matter if you are up or below it. Hit enter and it says second curve. If you look at the top left hand part of your screen, you could see it switch to our other equation, 20. It's exactly the curve that we want to use, and we're close to that intersection, so we'll hit enter. For guessing, you just want to make sure your cursor is still remaining close to that intersection. If not, scoot it a little bit closer, hit enter, and that will be our first intersection. It has an x value of negative 10.844 and a y value of 20. Now, we have two intersection points on this graph, so we need to make sure that we find both of them. So we're going to go back to second calc and choose number 5, intersect again. This time, while on the first curve, we're going to scroll over to the right. Make sure you don't use your up and down arrows, as that will switch you between curves. You just want to use the right and left arrows here. I'm close to the intersection, so I'll hit enter. It switches to my y equals 20. I'm close to the intersection, so I'll hit enter. And again, for guessing, I'm just about right there, so I'll hit enter again. Now I can see that my second intersection point is at 1.844, 20. Now go ahead and see if you could complete number 4 in your packet using the same methods that we just did to solve it with our calculator. Okay, let's make sure that you got the right answer. So first thing you should have done is gone to your y equals. We have 2x squared plus 6x, so I'm going to clear the equation I had out in there. Do 2x squared plus 6x. My second equation then is no longer 20, but rather it is 36. We need to graph that so we can see where our two graphs cross one another. And this time, if you left your zoom the same as last time, you are able to see it. Otherwise, go back to your zoom and zoom out. We have two intersection points again, so I'll do second calc, number 5 for intersect. Scroll to the left. Remember to not use your up and down arrows, but rather your left and right. I'm close to that intersection point. I'm on my first curve. I hit enter. It switched over to my line 36. I'm close to the intersection point. I hit enter. Guess. I'm going to hit enter. And now we can see that this has an intersection at -6, 36. Now in this question, all they care about are what of our possible x values. So I know one of my x values is at -6. From here, I don't need to go any further on to find out what that other intersection point is, as there is only one answer here with -6. So your answer for this one will be G.